This is VO's Journey. With your host, the incomparable Anthony Pica. Happy Thursday. Welcome to a VO's Journey. I am thrilled about this episode. I have a bunch of stuff to talk to you all about, and I'm just all day long I have been waiting to do this podcast. It has become just a thrill, and I look forward to it, and a highlight of my day. It was crazy at my job. So I think I've said this before, but if y'all don't know, I work a full-time job. I'm a teacher. I'm a theater, a tech teacher. So I'm a technical director and a technical theater teacher at a performing arts school. It's a public school, but it's an arts magnet. So we do like 12 to 14 different shows a year. So anyways, tonight we were finishing up the stage, and I was painting the stage to look like it was a wooden floor. So I did that until about 11. I got home at 11 p.m. and then I had a couple of different jobs to finish, and I just finished those up. And then I was responding to a client, and then I got on here. So I'm really excited to get started. And anyways, there's a bunch of things that I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight, 3 in particular. And the first one is one of a technical nature. So I think it's really cool. I use Adobe Audition. So Adobe Audition is my DAW, which is a digital audio workspace. And it's a monthly subscription cost to Adobe Audition. You can use something like Audacity, which is free and it's wonderful. But I use Adobe Audition mainly because as a teacher, I started out using Adobe because I wanted to do some video editing and Photoshop editing. And as a teacher a while ago, I had gotten a really good deal. So as an educator, I'd signed up for Adobe. And when I started my voiceover business, I found out that Adobe had this program called Audition. So I quickly learned about Audition, and now I switched over to CC, and I use Adobe Audition, and I pay for every month. And I think I pay like $29.99 or something like that a month. I know that you can get multiple Adobe products or just one for monthly subscription, and it works out great. But it's just something that I chose to use because I got familiar with it, and that's me. So anyways, I wanted to talk to you about something really cool that you probably know about, but you might not. And it's a technique that you can use when you are recording and you mess up, which we all do, and you have to go back and try to fix that mistake, whether you make a mistake with your words or whether you make a mistake taking a long breath, or there's some sort of noise or just some mistake in the script, and you have to go back and fix it. It's so I'm talking about a technique called a punch and roll. And it's really cool. So basically, in Adobe Audition, what you can do is first, but before I tell you the quick ins and outs of a punch and roll, the challenging part, I think, when trying to fix something in a script or in your recording is a couple things. One, I think it's challenging to get it to sound exactly like it should with the rest of the phrase or sentence or a couple of sentences. So you have that challenge, right? The challenge of getting it to actually sound like you are completing that phrase how it should be, and not you're just inserting a line. And then the next part is also you making the track sound a certain way also. So I'm going to talk about two things to make it work. What I mean by the second part is when you record something and then you edit it and then you master it and then you have to make a change and you go back in and you record your voice and you make the change, then you have to try to edit and master that clip so it sounds like the quality of the sound is the same as the rest of the piece. And I think a lot of new people or beginners, you really struggle with this. I struggled with this forever, just because I learned up to a certain point with my DAW, and then I stopped learning more. So I always thought I just wasn't very good at matching my my corrections. But I realized, and I learned, and I went on YouTube, and I, watched a lot of Mike Russell videos, which he's awesome, by the way, for learning about Adobe Audition. But anyways, I figured out how to fix those problems. So let me tell you. So the first thing is that in Adobe Audition, you need to set up a multi-track session. And in that multi-track session, you can record by hitting the R button. And also, I always switch mine to mono out of stereo. So anyways, in mono, I record. And if you mess up, you can simply highlight the area that you messed up at. And then you can move the red cursor back to where you want to start to listen to it. And then you start to listen to the phrase or the couple sentences before you have to record. And keeping that highlighted section highlighted, you hit record, and it will play over the parts that are not highlighted so you can hear yourself talking. And then you can match, when it gets to that part that you highlighted, it will allow you to record. So you can match the timing, the how to say the phrase, and then what happens is once you're done with that, it basically records a separate file and puts it over that file or over that section, so that you can save it as all one file, and it's really fantastic. I absolutely love it. It's called Punch and Roll, but that's how you basically do it. And then the other part I wanted to talk about, and if you want more information about that Punch and Roll, you can go on to YouTube and just type in how to punch and roll Mike Russell, and it'll come up, and it's like an 8-minute video. It's really awesome. Anyways, you can look up the same thing for Audacity, Pro Tools. You might use Pro Tools. There's some other ones out there, of course, the other DAWs. But the other part that I want to talk about, and this is just a little trick or tip, and it's really important. So let's say that you've completed a job and you edit your file, master your file, and you submit it to your client, whether it's on a platform like Upwork or Voices or Fiverr or whatever platforms you're using. And the client comes back and says, "Hey, listen, this is great, but I need this to be I need this one section changed, or you didn't say this name quite the way it needed to be pronounced, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." So you take the file back and you save the file completely edited and mastered. And then you go back in and you record the change, you insert it into the file where you're supposed to, and you listen back to it and realize that your recording sounds completely different than the rest of the file. And you try to do the same settings, you try to edit it, master it, but maybe on this particular day that you are re-recording, your tone and your voice is not exactly the same, or it just your volume is a little different, or your voice is scratchy, or something is different. Something is not sounding right, and you can't match it the same. So you frantically try to change your EQ settings. You're trying to do all sorts of stuff. You're raising the volume, lowering the volume. You're doing compressing it. You're doing every single thing you can until finally you get a product that either sounds awful or it just doesn't sound quite right. So to get past this problem, it's very simple, and it's just a simple mindset. Every time you record something, okay, you need to save the unedited WAV file so that you can go back and edit a file without it being, re-record something to a file without it being edited yet, or without it being messed with, so that when you put the file together, it will not, or you won't sound different because you've not edited or mastered that file. It's a raw file. So it's really important to save that file. And then once you have saved an unedited file, copy that file, create a new file, and then edit and master that new file so that you always maintain that other file. Now listen, if you're doing a lot of work, that's a lot of WAV files, and WAV files are 10 times bigger than MP3 files. So you're going to need to get a USB drive, an external drive, to put all of these files in so that they don't just eat up all your computer space. Okay, so but it's really, really, really helpful so that you don't sound like A, you don't know what you're doing, B, you're not spending hours trying to figure out how to make a single change sound like the rest of your recording. So anyways, I hope those two tips help just in a general basics of making changes to a file, or a mistake, or just an edit that a client wants you to do. Okay, all right. So, anyways, that's my technical garb for the day. I wanted to talk next to you guys about something that is, I'm seeing a lot about, and I wrote a big article today on a Facebook page, Facebook group I'm involved in. And, I called it basically like eating shit in the voiceover business. And the idea behind what I was talking about was that, a lot of us are on platforms. A lot of people are on Fiverr. And there's a lot of stuff about Fiverr right now. People hate Fiverr. People love Fiverr. People not making money on Fiverr. People making lots of money on Fiverr. People, getting, bad customers on Fiverr. People getting great customers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Fiverr is a big, big, big topic in the voiceover industry. Anyways, one of the big problems with Fiverr is that many people believe that, you are selling yourself as a voiceover artist too short. You're selling your services for $5 when you should be charging, $100 or $250 or standard rates, for industry rates instead of, $5 gigs. But I wrote this article, and it really just came out of me because, I hear so many people talking about, well, somebody contacted me and they wanted me to do, 500 words for $5. And, I told them, no, I won't do it. And I, and then they said, I don't get any business on Fiverr. I don't know what to, but I was dealing with a customer who was a challenge on Fiverr, and they wanted a lot of work done, a lot of post-production work. Like they wanted me to insert files, they wanted me to insert music beds, they wanted me to find other voiceover actors, all this stuff for just just for a normal rate. So like multiple hours of work for like $25. And, that's ridiculous. So I went through the process of trying to let them know that, those are things that I don't do. Usually I can do them, but I don't do them. And if I do them, it would be a custom order where we would, it costs a lot more. And they didn't want to, do that. But what they did was they had ordered my gig, and then wanted all this stuff. And if you know anything like Fiverr, and just like any other business, this is the thing. People complain about Fiverr, but the reality is it's business in general. All right. If somebody in our day and age, if somebody leaves a review about you that is bad somewhere, it's going to hurt. And it's going to cause you to have issues with your business. So what you do in those situations can make all the difference in the world, and sometimes you can't help bad reviews. You just can't help it. There are people out there who are not happy with their lives, so they're not going to be happy with you, and they're going to make you pay for their misery. So, those things that we just have to dealing with the public. But anyway, so this person, I won't try to go through this process of canceling the order because we weren't seeing eye to eye, and the person refused to cancel the order. So then, last night, before I did my podcast last night, I'd spent like 2 hours finishing up the work. And, this morning, the person came on and gave me, a 5-star review and was very pleased with the work after it took me like 4 hours to complete a $25 job, which is something like what? $6 an hour, which is ridiculous, right? But at the same time, that morning, I had just finished an audiobook for about $500, and then I'd got a tip of $178. So I had this amazing experience, and then this pretty bad experience. But I, instead of throwing in the towel with this guy who was being really impossible. And, he was hard to understand him because what he was typing and stuff wasn't proper grammar for English. And, so it was hard for me to understand everything that he was trying to say. And I did my best. But the point is I ate that shit. I ate that shit and I did the work I had to do, because the way I look at it is this: every little thing that you have to do, every crappy piece of a business in general that you have to do, that crappy piece is a piece that you have to complete in order to get to the great shit that's on top. It's like a ladder, right? You got to climb up every little step in order to get to the top. All right. And you can't skip the damn step, because you skip the step, you're going to miss it and you're going to fall and it's going to be a mess, or worse, you never get there because you can't get to the next step. It's too far up. So, I mean, you got to do all the little shit, and you got to be okay with it. And what I mean by, actually, that's not true. You don't have to be okay with it. In fact, you can hate the crap out of it, but you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to get past the ego part of it and just do it, because you got to think that every little thing you do, it's not just worth the $25 I did. It wasn't just worth that. It was worth also the, $678 that I just got before, or it was worth $1,000, job I could do tomorrow, right? Because, everything you do stacks up and it builds, your mountain. So I just wanted to point that out, that, we got to eat shit in our businesses. And, the people who don't want to do the work. And I guess I should also preface this by saying, I should also say that I'm not saying you should go anywhere, whether it's Fiverr, whether it's, a large corporation, whether you're whatever, and offer your services for less than you want to charge. But what I am saying is that if you are sitting on your butt and you're not getting any business just because you're just starting out, like all of us, most people are just starting out. Okay, in this voiceover business, it's the voiceover gold rush right now. Okay, it is. We're in a gold rush for the voiceover business. Everybody's jumping in. But if you're sitting on your butt and you're not doing anything, and then you're turning down, 400, 500 words for $5 because, you feel like that's offensive to you. One, I get it. But two, well, what the hell else are you doing? I mean, what else do you have to do than just sit there and do nothing? Okay, so I guess I'm just getting at, when you get so busy that you can't afford anymore to take those jobs because you've got so many other jobs and people are willing to pay you more, you don't have to charge that anymore. I guess what I'm just trying to say is that, that's, why not just get the damn business, make your money, and then once you get so much business, you can afford to charge more and people will pay it because you're in demand, as opposed to just sitting doing nothing and being angry that somebody wants to, give you $5 for 500 words. Again, I say this, though, with the caveat that if that's not what you want to charge, guess what? You don't have to. You don't have to charge it. You can charge $1,000 for 500 words. You can do whatever you want. Just be aware that you got to be able to adjust to anything that's coming your way. All right. Business is about adjusting as well. So if something happens, you got to adjust and make it happen. So if you're getting all these opportunities to do work, don't just think of them as the $5. Think of them about what they're going to mean in the future. Okay. Think about what it's going to mean in the future. And that review, that goodwill that happens adds up. Okay. Now, on a side note, if you get, because my heart goes out to people who come across customers in any part of a business who are just shitty. They're just, not, they leave bad reviews. They're unhappy. I remember, I'll never forget, I first started teaching in 2003, and I was having trouble with parents because, I teach theater and I would give homework, maybe like 2 or 3 assignments a year. I'm not joking. I'm not lying. And I had parents who would complain and tell me that their child has cheerleading, or they've got soccer or football, and they just can't afford to do homework in the drama class. And, I would sit in meetings where these people would yell at me. Now, I was brand new, so I didn't know what to do anyways, but I would sit in parent meetings where they would yell at me, and I would just sit there. And I remember, I'll never forget, I went to my principal and I said to the principal, I said, I don't understand. When I was in college and I was in high school, everybody seemed to like me. I never had this problem with people. I don't know why all these people seem to hate me. And he said to me, and I'll never forget this, he said, when you were in college, how many friends did you have? Like your close friends, people you hung out with. I said, well, I have 5 or 6, close friends. And then he said, all right, so how many students do you have now? I said, well, I teach about 120, 130. He's like, great. And let's say, those students have at least, 2 parents or 2 family members of some sort available. So, okay. So I'm like, okay, well, so, that's about, 400 people. Okay. And then he said, and then the faculty here are people that you work with every day. It's another 150 people. I said, okay, so he said, okay, that's 550 people that you are now in contact with, or that are in your life directly. He said, out of those 550 people, you are going to meet some assholes. And you have to just understand that is life. There are going to be people who like you. There are going to be people who hate you. And then there are going to be people who are in the middle. Our job is to try to get to the people who are in the middle. I'll never forget that ever for the rest of my life. And it holds true, I think, no matter what we do, in what industry or where we are. There is always going to be people who love you. There's always going to be people who hate you. And then there's always going to be a big group in the middle who don't know you and they're undecided. There's nothing you can do about the people who hate you. So don't dwell on it. All right. The people who love you, they will love you no matter what. To the people in the middle that we have to focus on. So anyways, I'll never forget that. And I've lived by that for, my life since. So that was amazing advice. And when you come across somebody like that, you just have to move forward and don't let it bother you to the point where you don't do anything. You become stagnant. Push yourself forward. Think about the future. Think about what it's going to happen and what it's actually worth to push, and then don't run away with it. So what I was trying to get to with all this, if something happens where you get a bad review, whether it's on a platform like on Fiverr and someone gives you a 1 star, don't let that derail you. Yes, your rating goes down, and yes, that means a lot, and yes, people will look at you, and let's not, gently coded here. It sucks when you have that on your reviews, right? You want to have 5 stars no matter what on that platform, and on most platforms, and even and no matter what business you're in, whether you're on a platform or not, you want to have 5 stars. You want to have excellent reviews. But let's say you do get a 1-star review on one of those platforms, or you get a 3-star or a 4-star, and you're not at 5 stars. What do you do then? Well, here's the thing that about Fiverr that you got to know. If you're not getting traffic on Fiverr, don't wait for Fiverr to give it to you. And also, here's another thing. If you've optimized your gig, I'm going to be straightforward to you. Stop looking for business on Fiverr. You've got to look for business off of Fiverr, all right, and then send it to your Fiverr account. And here's the crazy thing. The more business that's going, or the more impressions that your Fiverr gig gets, all right, Fiverr's algorithm is responsive. So the more like the more work you get, or the more eyes start seeing your stuff, it will also increase your it will also increase your ranking and your standings on the pages of Fiverr. So, start, working social media, start sending people to there, see people, hey, if you go out and find somebody, on LinkedIn who needs, a voice message, say, hey, that's fantastic. Check this out. This is where I do all my business through. It makes business super easy for you and me. We transfer files really simply. And, it's a great platform for us to work together, and it's very user friendly, because that's what you're using on these platforms, is being able to be user friendly. So, I would, go about it that way. And, when you do that, if you have a 1-star, here's another thing to do. You could really, I would put it in your description, talk about it. Don't run away with it. Put it in your question and answers. Why do I have a 1-star rating? You talk about, well, this a customer who was great. He wanted something, and we were unable to see eye to eye. We worked together, but it didn't work out. And, he felt it important, and that's okay. I really appreciate his feedback. I contacted him. We worked, I've worked it out to where, I'm making sure that nothing like that happens again. And then I'm actually doing, X, Y, and Z, so that, my customers are really happy about those changes. So I really thank that person for their review. I know that's something, but you're not running away from it. You are literally attacking it and meeting it head on, and make it a part. Make it a part of your video. Don't run away from the stuff. Make it a part of who you are. Make you the guy who keeps getting hit but keeps on going. Make that a part of your video. I never see anyone doing videos like that. Listen, I've been in the trenches. I will work my butt off, and even if we mess up, I'll mess up working my butt off for you and keep it going. Now, with all that said, if you just can't get it right, there's no problem with starting again. So let's say you do get a 1-star review, or a bad review, or a couple bad reviews. Maybe you don't know what you're doing. Maybe you really did get some really awful customers who were out to get you because they had an awful day, and you were like just the lucky person who got them to choose, your gig. Don't feel bad about starting a new account under a new email address. Start again. Because look, if you're not getting any business, what does it matter to start again? You can just start again with a new account, and start sending traffic to that account. Don't wait for Fiverr to do it. And to be honest with you, many of you know Fiverr is really thinking about switching to a pay-per-click program, to where, you're going just like Facebook ads, right? I'm not sure exactly how they're going to roll it out, but they've been sending out all of these, polls, and they've been taking surveys about, what are sellers, what do we think about, what would we pay if they had a program where you could pay per click, and how much a percentage of our our earnings would we want to pay for that? I haven't seen this, the stats on what people are answering, but I know what I said, I'd be willing to pay 10 to 15% of that, because that means, that means that you would have more control financially. You could push the limit, and boost your gig. And I think it's a response probably for a lot of things for Fiverr, but it is a response for the people who are getting shafted by customers who are unfairly rating them. So Fiverr's trying to do something to help out the sellers, which I really applaud Fiverr for doing that. So that's pretty cool. So anyways, I wrote a huge article about that today. I just wanted to talk about it. Eating shit in your business is a part of business, and it's the stuff that no one else wants to do. So if you do it, you will set yourself apart. And then eating shit is doing all the little things, contacting your clients, going the extra mile by just simply saying thank you, or it was awesome, or I saw your profile, whatever, or I sent you 3 readings of your thing because you paid me $50 to do 50 words, and so I sent you 3 different readings so you could choose in 3 different ways, so you could choose which one you liked. All right, and then on top of that, you sent them a voice message. You attached a voice message instead of you just typing something, thanking them with your voice and telling them if they need anything to let you know. Talk to them, and that's a really great way to do, use your voice. We're voiceover artists, for God's sakes. Let's use our voices in response instead of typing. So anyways, that was just some rant that I wanted to go on about that. So, I hope that helps with a little bit of mindset there. The last thing I want to talk to you about that's pretty good one. I feel like I need a drink here. I'm gonna have a drink of something. Anyways, by the way, it's 1:10 in the morning. My goodness, rocking it out. The last thing I want to talk about is actually really exciting. So today, not today, the other day, I was, and this happened. This has not happened directly to me before. I've done, I don't know, like 50 or 60 audiobooks now. I would say something like that. And, most of them under my name, a lot of them under other names, and a lot of them, about half of those are royalty right shares, and the other half are just, paid outright. Anyways, I've always done them through platforms, even like ACX, or, the different platforms. But the other day I got a message on Facebook from a publisher who said that their client had heard, had listened to one of my books, and they were really interested in working with me. So I was like, wow, that's really exciting. So they sent me, the publisher sent me a script. I auditioned and I just sent it back to them over the email I just read. The publisher was like, read 5 minutes or so and send it back, and I'll give it to the client and see what they think. And then send me some information about the publishing company and their site. And, I went and checked it out, and I thought, hey, I might as well give it a try. And I read the book. I really liked I read the first couple pages, and I did the read. But I really liked the book. It was written well. So those of who are just starting out, we can, especially in audiobooks, there can be some really crappy really crappy writing that we have to try to read. So anyways, so I read it, and I recorded it, sent it off, and I just heard back today that they want to the client wants to work with me. So the publisher sent me all this information, and I've got setting up all the stuff with them to record the book, and I'm really excited about that. This is one of the first jobs that I'm getting off of that's outside of a platform through a publisher. It's not a big publisher. I'm sure it's a small business, but it's paying really well. And what I'm really excited about too is that I get to keep all of that money, which is great. I'm not paying a percentage for a platform that I'm on, and that's really nice. Now, if you go through ACX, you don't pay a percentage. You know what I mean? That's not because it's self-publishing, because Amazon makes their money when you through selling the books when it's on the platform. But, other platforms that you do, you have to pay a percentage, of the sale. So you don't really get to keep, if you a book that, you're making $600 on, on Fiverr, they take 20%, so that's $120. So really $600 is only $480. $480 is nothing to shy about, but it does, hurt you 20%. Is a lot of money. But again, that's the price you pay to play the game. Anyways, I was just thrilled about it. And, I quoted I usually charge $250 per finished hour. So in audiobooks, you're going to always work, the standard is you work per finished hour, PFH. And that means you work, how much, a finished hour of recording, how much that price is that you're going to charge. But if you've done audiobooks or, that it's not an hour. So if you record for an hour, it usually takes the standard rules. It usually takes you 3 hours to record, edit, and master an hour's worth of recording. Now, I can tell you this. This is not, in my experience, this is not accurate. I'm going to tell you the real deal here after doing, and by the way, I've only done like 60 audiobooks. So it's not like I've done, 1,000, which there's people out there who've done thousands. But in my experience doing the 60, I realized that when I first started, it was taking me like 4 to 5 hours to record an hour, edit it, and master it. As I got better, it started taking me about 3 hours. Now it takes me 2 hours to do an hour. Partially that's because I've got a process down where now that the way I do punch and roll and the way I edit and master, I do it all at the same time so that I can optimize my time and my return on time so that I'm not spending, gobs of hours doing recording, 1 hour. So, that limits how much time or how much money you make per hour. So remember, per finished hour. So I charge, at this moment, I'm charging $250. So the book is like, about 22,000 words. So, that's like over $600. So I'm very excited about that, because 9,500 words is about a standard hour. That's about what's standard an hour. It can be a little more, a little less, but 9,500 words. So 22,000 words, that's what, 2 hours and like 10 minutes or 15 minutes or so, probably 2 hours and 15 minutes. So if I stay to my word, that would be about 5 hours of work or so for me. You know what I mean? So if $600, it's a little over, it would be $600 divided by 5. You're talking, what is that? That's like $120 an hour. So, I mean, that's really good work, right? I mean, that's great. And, so anyways, I wanted to tell you guys about that. It was really exciting. And that's just from, I guess, me having books out there. I didn't go out and find that, but all the work I did, with doing the books, it happened. And the guy found me on Facebook. Oh, and that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. So here's the thing, and this is the thing I need to pivot and do. And I really make the suggestion that you guys do this too. The other day I was talking to a person about traction. I was trying to remember who it was I was talking to. I think it was Earl Hall. I was talking to Earl Hall about this. I know y'all know who Earl Hall is. Earl Hall Studio. Awesome guy. He helped me, actually kind of helped me with one of his videos last year when I was first starting my voiceover business. I didn't know anything about anything in voiceover. And I saw one of his videos he had just published on YouTube that day. On the day I just started my voiceover business, he published that day about audiobooks on ACX. And what he did, or, he's done some audiobooks there. He's not big into audiobooks, but he likes audio. He did a video on it, and he talked about a method of finding audiobooks. And I've talked about that method on the last podcast or the podcast before, but I took it and modified it to meet my needs. But anyways, the point is that I was talking to him the other day about traction and about how we either make it difficult, we either make it easy or difficult for our customers to work with us online. So as you know, like let's say you go online to buy something, right? And you're trying to buy something and it takes you forever to figure out how to buy it. You see the product and then you click on buy and it takes you to some page where, maybe you got to fill out some information. So you got to fill out, then it takes you to another page where, it wants you to buy something else. And then it takes you to another page where you have to talk about, the gift wrapping. That takes you to another page. And then maybe you can't, then on the other page, you can't even figure out where to check out. That's called traction. The more traction you have for a customer, the less likely they're going to purchase something. So the easier you make a purchase, all right, the easier you make it for them to purchase from you, the more they will buy and the more people that will buy from you. And that's why these platforms too are very successful, because they're easy for people to go on. They just go on there, fill out some general information, and then it's easy. All you got to do on Fiverr is go with a credit card, all right, find what you want, go on a credit card, type in your credit card, it charges you, and then you're ready to go. That's it. I mean, it's very simple. So anyway, so the point I was trying to get at is that, make it as simple as possible for people to find you, know exactly what you're doing, know exactly how to work with you, and exactly how you take payment, how what is the process. Make it as easy and as open as possible so that there's no problem when someone wants to say, who should I work with? Oh, there's this guy. But I have no idea how to even work with them, because every time I type a link, they take me to some platform or somewhere that is not giving me the information I want. Now, I'm not saying don't put links. Like a lot of my links lead to my podcast because, I want people to come and listen to this. But am I leaving a link in my podcast to somewhere I can go? No, because I'll be quite honest with you. I suck at websites. I need to get better at it, and I need to get better at my website. So, I'm not up to par on a lot of these things, and I got to work on them. But I'm trying to just start pushing it out and to get better as I go along. But that, am I putting a link in my podcast that can take someone to work with me to say, oh, I listen to this. That's pretty cool. This guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Maybe I want to work with him and making, doing my audiobook. Well, how do I do that? They could message you. That's true. But they might be someone who doesn't want to message you. Maybe they want to just go to your site, listen to something, buy something, and have you deliver it for them. So all I'm trying to say is do your best to try to make it as simple as possible for someone to work with you. So that's traction. The more traction, the worse it is for, you getting customers. Easier it is for them to get something from you, the more, they will buy from you. So, all right. Well, boy, I talked for a long time. This is a long time. This is one of the longest ones. Hopefully this was a lot of info that helped out. And if you found it, good, please like it, follow me. Make sure you just follow me here on SoundCloud or subscribe to my podcast on iTunes. Leave a comment, hopefully. Leave a review if you'd like, and, tell me what you think. If you want to message me on Twitter at Anthony Pica VO. You can send a message on Instagram, Anthony Pica VO, Facebook, Anthony Pica VO. I'd love for you to go to all those places and follow me, so that, I can meet you. We can, you can meet me, and we can chat over message, and, anything you need, just let me know. All right. Well, you guys have an awesome, awesome night, and then day, because it is Thursday. So, we are rocking and rolling. And I will talk to you soon. All right. Peace out.